Hello valued viewers, I hope you're all doing very well. Today we're in the F-15E Strike Eagle and we're looking at AIM-9 Sidewinders. We can carry up to 4 Sidewinders on the stations shown. We have 3 variants currently, the Mike, the Lima and the Papa. We're not sure whether the modern X-ray Block 1 will be available in the future. It might not. We'll just have to see. This is what we have at Early Access. Today, I think we'll actually just take 2 on those pylons. First, controls. Roughly from top to bottom, we're going to want our auto acquisition switches. Aft, to access some of the auto acquisition modes. Forward, to access the other auto acquisition modes, press to reject a current target lock. We may need castle switch left to assign soy to the radar. Nose wheel steer weapons button. We'll need this to cage and uncage the seeker head of the missile. Weapon release we'll use to fire the missile. And weapons mode switch center SRM to actually select the Sidewinder for use. We can use the Sidewinder in 2 modes, with radar track or without radar track. First, we'll show without. Prerequisites: if we're going to use radar tracked mode, we'll obviously need the radar turned on, which it is. Also, master arm will need turning on there. Now, the Sidewinder needs to be cooled for 25 seconds before it can be fired, at least according to the documentation. I'm not sure if it's actually modelled yet. The cooling process will automatically start as soon as the master arm is turned on. Next, we need to select the Sidewinder. I've actually already got mine selected, but if it wasn't selected, press the SRM button we saw before. You will know it's selected because you'll hear that distinctive Sidewinder growl in the background, currently a low-pitched tone. Also, we'll get our non-radar tracked symbology. Here on the left, weapons information. We've got S Sidewinder selected. There's 2 of them, and they are the M variant. Also 2 circles in the center of the HUD. Larger circle, Sidewinder field of view. If the Sidewinder is in its caged position, which it is, this is the field of view that the Sidewinder can detect a heat source in. And we know it's in its caged position because the smaller circle shows where the Sidewinder is currently pointing, which is in the caged bore sight position. In this mode, all we've got to do is move a heat source inside the field of view circle and the tone will change to a higher pitched tone, and that means we have an infrared track. There you go. It's a bit bouncy because it's a bit far away, but when it goes up in tone like that, it does have a track. I could actually fire the missile now and it would track. But watch what happens when I move the caged seeker away. It loses track again. So a preferable thing to do would actually be to move it into position again so it's getting a track, or tone, sorry. Then press nose wheel steer. It's now uncaged the seeker head, and the seeker head will now follow the heat source anywhere within the field of view of the missile seeker head. That field of view will vary depending on the type of Sidewinder. M, I think it's 40 degrees, L, I think 30 degrees, and P, I think 20 degrees, and X-ray is about 90 degrees, by the way. We can also tell it's uncaged because at the bottom right of the HUD it says uncaged. This is useful for high off-bore sight shooting, which is going to be needed in a dogfight. So let's just show moving him off-bore sight now. And I could fire at any time now. If I want to cancel that tone, I press nose wheel steering again. I've recaged the seeker and I've lost the tone. There's one more thing I want to show in this mode. That is, if I do not have a heat source in the field of view and I press uncage now or nose wheel steering, you can see the seeker will start wandering. It will wander within the field of view of the HUD until it bumps into a target almost at random and then stay on that target. I've never really understood the point of that function. Quite a few planes have it, but that function is there. If I want to cancel the wander, then I press nose wheel steering again and it recages. And that is the extent without radar tracks. So I'm now going to lock him. Okay, I press nose wheel steer. I've got a track. Note, I don't have any ranging information because we don't have a radar track. So we're just going to have to hope it's within range. So let's push weapon release. Off it goes. And the may be fooled by the flares, it may not. And it's not. Right, let's start again, but this time with a radar tracked mode. Right, we're in again. This time, master arm on. We're going to press and hold castle switch left to assign soy to our radar screen. Done. We're going to press auto acquisition right short twice to get the auto acquisition bore sight mode selected. If you want to know what I'm talking about, then I've done a full video on the auto acquisition mode. We're now ready to get radar lock. Move the guy into the bore sight circle. And it's not working. Why is it not working? Well, it's just an interesting feature here. It's because we're moving at the same speed or within a certain amount of knots. It's actually rejecting him as background clutter. So I need to either let him get away or catch him up. I'll let him get away. If you're ever trying to get a radar lock on a target and it's not working, that's why. Because the speed differential is not high enough and he's been rejected in the clutter filter or the notch filter. Okay, now it works. That's because he's getting away, so he's going more than 50 knots faster. So that's a bit of interesting trivia. Right, we now have a radar track. We know because we've got the radar track symbology. You probably know it already, but we'll buzz over it really quick. We have a target designator box around the target. Also, because we had our Sidewinder selected, it's automatically slaved the Sidewinder seeker head to the area where we have our radar track, at which point it's found the heat of the target, and the Sidewinder has now locked itself onto the target, which we know because this circle is there. Other symbology, we now have an ASE circle, because of course we have a radar track, we have more information about the hostile. That guy there, and a steering dot. That guy there. As per firing an AMRAAM, the idea is to maneuver the aircraft so the steering dot is within the ASE circle. We're then set up aerodynamically optimally for a shot. Also, we have range information. We have a unwinding range cue in the center of this circle. It starts here at 12,000 feet and unwinds 6,000 feet, 3,000 feet, 0 feet. So he's about 3,000 feet away from us. Also, more radar information. The hostile is at 16,500 feet and his relative aspect is 10 degrees bias left. He's at a range of 0.5 nautical miles, and if I were to fire the missile now, it would hit him in an estimated 6 seconds. We also have a range scale, 0, 5 and 10 nautical miles. That is where he currently is on the range scale. And we have a closing velocity of negative 80 knots, meaning he's going 80 knots faster than us. We also have range cues there, there, and there. At this point, there is no documentation about the range cues of the Sidewinder, so we're going to have to make a guess. So this one here we would expect to be range aero, the max theoretical range of the missile, assuming the target doesn't evade. These guys here, linked by this vertical line, we would expect to be advisory cues showing at which range the missile will hit if the target dodges. If he dodges laterally, i.e. does not change altitude, and if he dodges and changes altitude, and range minimum here. All missiles have a minimum range. So best to fire the missile between this guy here and this guy here. Now, because we are between those two cues, we should get a shoot cue, which is not on the screen at the moment. So let me unpause and see if it shows up. There it is. That flashing triangle means it's a shoot cue. We may also have something up on the bow. No, we don't have anything on the A bow. But that is telling us you're in parameters to fire, push the button and fire. Just to get slightly more optimal, what I'll do is put the steering dot in the ASE circle and then fire. And that is one dead backfire. Oof. That is the current functionality of the AIM-9 M, L and P in early access of the F-15E. I hope that was useful and see you later.